Younger people, what are you tired of hearing from older generations? Story 1. Literally any and all job advice. Sorry, Deborah, but you've worked the same unionized position for 30 plus years. The number of valuable insights you can give me about the modern labor landscape numbers, somewhere between diddly and squat. And Hank literally drops the walk downtown, handing out resumes and shaking hands line without awareness or irony. Story 2. My mom and I got into a fight over housing affordability. Your father, 55, and I, 53, worked very hard to afford this house, $175K. And you make more than we did at the time we bought, 1992. The house now is worth about 1.5 M. My mom didn't work and my dad made 100K/year. I make 150K and houses in my price range are 600K 1HR, plus away from where I want to be and less than half size with less than half the lot. 100K a year in 1992 is crazy too. Like apparently the average annual wage was 22K back then. Story 3, anything to the effect of young people can't have back pain or any other physical disability. Like, dude, I wish being in my 20s made me immune to being injured. But that's literally just not how the human body works. Yep, in my 20s also, and I have severe back and neck pain from a car accident. Anytime I mention that I'm hurting, which is all the time, but I only say something when it's so bad I can't move, I'm dramatic or too young to know real pain. Story 4. Anyone at that age where they don't know if they can qualify as a younger or older person of Reddit. You a mid-30s millennial too? The first thing I thought when I opened the thread was I'm going to be the old guy here. Story 5. Go to school, get a job, get married, have kids, retire, then die. Statistically speaking, education, finishing high school, getting married before having children, and getting a job are the 3 most significant contributors to success. The bar is not high. Any little enhancement makes life better. Add education like a unique skill or a job with purpose of specific experience to get the next job. Marry up. There's no better partnership than when 2 people join together because each believes their lives will be better because of the other. You have a built-in edge against failure. Story 6. As a 29-year-old, tired of older people telling me I'll understand joint pain, tiredness when I'm older. I'm disabled and chronically ill. I've had bad joints since birth. Like, it's great that all your health problems are a result of your age, but mine have been around and will worsen because of that. Story 7. I have more life experience than you. Then proceeds to go on an emotionally stunted rant based on their own personal bias due to trauma they refuse to process because they know best. Story 8. 34. I'm sick of hearing about how young people just spend all their time on TikTok, how they have stupid dances, how they're just staring at screens all day, blah, blah, blah. Yes, they do all that stuff, but we had stupid dances when we were younger. We sat in front of the TV all day. I've yet to see someone with square eyes. Also hearing about how kids as young people today have no respect for their elders. Amps were doing the same shit that people today are doing now. The difference is, everyone has a camera in their pocket. Story 9. I am 44, but I still feel like I am young. I am tired of hearing pretty much everything my generation says. I don't understand when everybody else just suddenly morphed into their parents. Story 10. No one wants to work anymore. First of all, no one ever wanted to work. That's why it's called work and not fun. Second of all, maybe it's that no one wants to work at your job that lists itself as entry level, but wants 5 years of experience and a master's degree along with being able to work 12-hour days at minimum wage. Not just that, you put yourself out there time and again, and when you finally get the interview, I know the job. I know the kind of work site I'll be around. I'm not 16, 18 and stumbling my way in here, so I would like to get straight to the point. Pay. I need steady hours and a pay that is fitting for the work I am doing and the conditions I am doing it in. I have to be able to safely cover rent and my other bills. It says hiring at 1318 at HR. Why? Is that for someone who doesn't know what they are getting into? I know this job is dangerous and I would like a fair pay. I'm looking for 17.25 to start with raises coming later. To end up around 2021 HR. What? You can't? I've seen your workplace. I know the job you do. I know what I would have to clean and maintain, and I can do it. I'm asking for fair pay because I've seen where I will be working and the kind of labor I will be doing. Won't hire for that pay because it's not worth it? This is a steel mill. You literally make fresh steel to ship out. I'm not going to break my back doing hard labor and not get fair pay. That's what it comes down to. Companies that don't want to pay a fair wage and people don't want to be taken advantage of and treated like shit. More. Story 11. When you're older, you'll agree with me. FS, just because you're older doesn't mean you're always right or that you know the answers to all my life's problems. You grew up in a different time period with different problems and different social views. Your problems might be similar and you might be right some of the time, but that is no excuse to shut down every logical point I make against your beliefs with this line. Story 12. When I was your age, I already had 5 kids and 2 grandchildren, or my granddaughter is your age and she already has 3 kids. When are you going to give you mom some grandkids? I'm 30. Not that old, not that young, but this kind of comment, definitely old for me. I'm so tired of older ladies saying this. I think I wasn't even 18 when they started. They don't accept any reasonable answer that isn't I'm working on it, maybe later, or I'm doing my best to get a steady career before having kids. Or we are saving. Gets them on a rampage saying some BS about kids not costing a thing and that I'm getting old or that women were born to be mothers or whatever. So I started being rude. Sorry, but not sorry. Story 13, they're so judgmental and rude. I'm a restaurant worker, and I swear young people are way more polite and easygoing while older people have zero patience, even though they're the ones who are already retired. Oftentimes make racist, sexist, homophobic, and body-shaming comments, and still act like they're above the younger generation simply because they've been alive for longer. Story 14, stop eavesdropping. I'm not eavesdropping, you're just talking loud because you're deaf, and I'm not my father. You only overheard me from the other room. You don't know what I'm actually talking about. Me. I know exactly what you're talking about because I can hear you on the other side of the house. Story 15. Nobody wants to work. I swear if I hear that one time, I'm going to scream. I should have said nobody wants to work anymore. Did we ever? Just less so now with all the abuse. Story 16. Don't believe everything you see on the internet. My parents, when I was a teenager in the late 90s. Now I have to tell my parents that. I was at GF's parents' place and she told us something generally unbelievable she read about on Instagram. And I casually asked if that was verified to have actually happened. And her mother very sarcastically replied, "Oh, are you one of those fact-checker types?" Like that is some sort of insult or something to want to know the truth. I guess my parents and teachers just reinforced the whole, don't believe something just because you read it on the internet. For anyone making comments about unreliable online fact-checking sites, I was in no way referring to formal fact-checking. I was merely wondering where my GFE heard the story. Like, was it just something relayed second, third hand, or an actual video of the event, or a news report, or what? I don't even remember the story. It just sounded too weird to be true, and I wanted to learn more if it was verifiable. Story 17. I'm tired of people complaining about how younger people are terrible as though they weren't the ones that raised those younger people to be what they are. These millennials and their damn participation trophies. Who the f*** were the ones handing them out? They weren't giving them to themselves as children. Story 18. How we can't fix anything ourselves. Then promptly ask us to fix their Wi-Fi, set up their new phone, and figure out why their computer is running slow. We can do plenty, we just have a different skill set. No joke, my dad did this time me. I didn't know how to change my tire on my car at 18. He never showed me. Complained about it, and told me to figure it out. Not 10 minutes later, his Wi-Fi went out and asked me to fix it. I told him to figure it out. Story 19. Just had someone the other day ask me, so why aren't you married? I'm like, if I met someone worth marrying, then I would. Best response to this is supply chain issues. Story 20. When I was your age, we never. Story 21. No one wants to work. We want to work, just not for poverty wages. Story 22. I hate how we've gone from me getting Facebook as a teenager and my parents being like, don't believe everything you see on the internet, to them sending me medical research from unverified, unreputable sources. Story 23. You kids had it so easy growing up, and now your kids have it easier than that. That's the f***ing point. We're supposed to make it easier for the next generation. I should add that boomers and Gen Xers say this stuff, yet it isn't easier. Life is hard and expensive because they ruined it. And they continue to ruin it but call us lazy, because it's beyond our power and ability to fix. Story 24. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and work harder. Buddy, I've been working 60+ hours a week and prices keep going up and my pay is not, and I actually cannot afford to change jobs, change my living situation, buy a more fuel-efficient car, or go to college. There actually is no out. There's no work harder and I'll make it. I'm literally in the poverty trap. I'm slowly making my way out of it, but it's going to be a long-ass time unless some other opportunity magically appears. College isn't the price of a McDouble anymore. Story 25. Video games are a waste of time, says the boomer dipshit sitting on the couch, sitting on his phone with Fox News playing in the background. Story 26. You just have to work harder if you want to buy a house. That's what I did. Yeah, well, I don't make 50% of the price of a house a year like you did. Story 27. I'm 55. I still get tired of my parents telling me to find a good church home. Story 28. I'm 32, so not young, not old, but definitely hate hearing Like, for example, my BF's dad saying he didn't know he raised 3 girls when he found out my BF and his brother drink tea. Story 29. I'm sick of hearing about them participation trophies. I got one in middle school and was told to appreciate that I got it. I didn't want it. I knew that I hadn't done anything to deserve a trophy. It went into a drawer and was forgotten. People love complaining about how participation trophies have ruined children when it was the adults that decided to hand them out. How idiotic is it to basically say, here's your award for existing, followed by, you fuckers need to be awarded for just existing in nearly the same breath. Agreed. On a tangent, I was the youngest person to help with Take Your Child to Work Day at a big Fortune 250 company. The main conversation the planning team was what gifts, plural, would be given to the kids. When I told the team that kids really just want to spend time with their parents and understand why they were gone for so long, or even what is that we do, how cool it is, they all looked dumbfounded. They still ended up buying multiple loads of cheap crap, but at least we actually made the rest of the event a program and not just a speech from an officer of the company, while mom/dad/guardian were at their desks working. Story 30. You should really buy a house and settle down. I'm bloody well trying Karen, just 'cause you bought your house in the 60s for $40K and a blueberry, off your husband's salary, whilst you were a stay-at-home mom, then sold it for $600K this year to retire off of, doesn't mean that it's the same for this generation right now. Far from it, in fact, just shut up. Story 31. I'm not younger, but I'm fed up with some older people expecting gratitude for all that they have done, while taking zero responsibility for the problems that they will leave future generations. Story 32. Just pause it. I give my son a heads up that dinner will be ready in X minutes, so don't get involved with anything. I'll give a reminder 15 minutes before 2. But I game too, so I understand. Story 33. Older folks constantly trying to tell anybody younger than them that they don't know what getting old is. 35-year-old. Damn, I'm starting to feel more tired in the morning and feel a little more sore after exercise than I used to. 55-year-old. You think you're old? You're not old. I'm old. You think that's old? Well, wait till you get to be as old as I am. It's like they pride themselves on being older and more sore than you and want to put you in your place for even suggesting you notice a difference in your body because of aging. I love my grandparents, but sometimes they really grind my gears. A couple days ago, I worked a normal 8-hour day in construction, mostly crawling on a roof to patch it up. In the evening, I sat in a bus with the most unergonomic seats imaginable for 2 hours to get to their place and had the audacity to complain about my hurting back. I'm 22, I'm not allowed to have any pain whatsoever. I obviously need to get more into shape. I can have pain when I'm 80, like them. Seriously? Story 34, that I'm wasting my entire purpose as a woman because I don't want kids. Comments like this only made me double down on choosing a hysterectomy over another option for a procedure to reduce my endometriosis pain. I've literally never wanted my own kids. The idea of parenting 24/7, such in 365, has not ever had any appeal to me. I luckily had a super awesome surgeon who understood that and went to bat for me and helped me get this procedure even though I was only 22. The lab that got my uterus to test for other issues found the muscle of my uterus was full of endometriomas. If I'd ever gotten pregnant, it could have killed me. So everyone that told me I'd want that someday can kiss my laparoscopy scars. Story 35. I'm tired of people referring to their significant others as the old ball and chain or just talking shit about their wives to friends a lot. It's like their wives are a burden to them. Story 36. I'm an older millennial. I have a good job, own a house, am married, and have 2 kids. It is 2022, and at least half the times I hear someone older reference millennials, it's talking about people who are currently the age my cohort was 22 years ago when the millennium was a thing. Story 37. Not super young myself, 30, but back in my day, or that's just the way it is. No, just no. We should always strive for better. There is no reason to settle for the way things are. Story 38. The young people always just want to drink and go to parties. No, don't pretend like you didn't do this too, LL.